Okay, so Moodle, like we talked last time for somebody that came through, it's a place to put file your information, but there is other resources that allow you to let it be a little more interactive between you and the students. Today, we're going to kind of go through how you can edit, talk a little bit about changing course titles, things like that, so you can actually start breaking down and start setting up your course. Show you a little bit of how to upload different files that you may already have created on your computer and put them onto the Moodle account. And then we'll talk a little bit about enrollment for the students and how to get students enrolled into your class. First thing we look at, so everybody is on, that's good. Enrollment. There's two different ways. There's one way you can manually enroll every student that you have. The easier way is probably to have them self-enroll. Actually, let me give you a website that's where basically if I have questions, that Moodle has its own website for tutorials, things like that. So if at any point you ever forget, they will walk you through it. And they walk you through the different keys, the different, all the different activities, the resources, how to use them. There's like sometimes little videos that they'll walk you through how to do the stuff. Sometimes it's just they'll write it out and they'll say, hit this, hit this, hit this. And they'll kind of step by step take you through a lot of what they do. So if you ever get lost, that's a way to go through. So looking at enrollment. So if you go into your class, I'm just going to pick one of mine here. Enrollment. Up on top, there's course administration on the top, the red bar, top left. It says course administration. Go down to users. And if you go over to the right, it says enrollment methods. And you go over and then it says self-enrollment students. So we're on the very top. Then and it goes down to users, enrollment methods, and over to self-enrollment. You click on that. Basically what that does is give you some information about if you have any requirements that you want to put in for enrollment. Right now, most of you have just basic guest access or enrollment access. That is any student or any person that's on the Moodle account that gets on there can enroll in your class if they choose to. So you can put on passwords, things like that. So if you only want a certain section or a certain group of kids to be there, you would create a password to say, Borman or whatever it may be, and that will be their password to get into that class. So you can set up keys for that. And how you do that, if you scroll down, let me see where it went. The enrollment key. It's like the fourth one down. If you hit unmask, you can then actually type in a password, and then you can tell the kids, hey, that's the password we're using for this class. So when you go to enroll them, you give them that password, and then they would enroll. How to get them enrolled? You go through onto the AEA website. We have some questions. So to get students enrolled, you'd have them log into the AEA website just like you do, and then they would pick out a Moodle course just like you would, but then they would enroll as students where you are logging on as the administrator to that, or the teacher to that course.
What's custom instance name?
Good question.
Because mine had my username. It had my username and password that I normally log into.
Good
on
question.
Here already.
I've never had that. Mine's always been blank. That's a good question. That one I'm not sure. I've never had it come up. Anytime you have a question, most of the things have a little blue question mark behind. If you click on it, it'll give you a quick description of what that one is. Yeah, I've never had that have anything in it ever. I'm going to delete my password here. So that was one way if you want to, down the road, as you get your course set up, limit who actually enrolls into your course. You can do that. Something I haven't done yet. I haven't had anybody ever want to enroll that not had to be there. So, but that's something I have gone and I told a couple people I've gone into other people's Moodle accounts before, and just to get an idea of what they do for AP government from other schools or whatever, just to get an idea of what they're actually sharing out, things like that, or if they use how much information they're providing, things like that. So I've actually looked at other people's that don't have password access before. So that's self-enrollment. Now, if we go back to your course, now anytime you get into a bunch of things, there's all these tabs at the top. If you ever want to just jump back to where, like back to the main heading for the course, like here, I just want to get back to my AP government course. I click on that. It's going to say if I want to leave the page, I'm okay with that. It's going to jump me right back to my main page of where I want to be. So those tabs right here become handy if you want to jump around a little bit. If you get several pages deep, that will allow you to move back quickly. If you don't like where you're at, you can get back rather fast to where you might be more comfortable. On the right side is editing. On the right, it says turn editing on. There's a button toward the top right underneath the big yellow bar. If you click on that, it's going to change the screen a little bit. It's now you have access to edit any of your files that you put into the Moodle account. So that way, if you don't go on there, if you're not looking to edit, you just want to look it over, see what you have. That allows you to not mess with anything until you're ready to edit. Then you can hit that button, then you can start editing all your files. Activities. You see, like I have several things under my headings. If you ever want to change a heading, because I think most of yours say topic 1. If you want to change that, there's a little gear underneath topic. If you click on it, it's going to give you an editing option. Section name, then you can, it says a button that's the box that says use the default section name. If you unclick that, you can then change the default setting to whatever you want it to be. So I unclicked it, and then I started choosing my chapter titles. That's how I started labeling mine, because that's how I divided my units up, or based by chapters. And then when you're done with that, save changes at the bottom. Always go down and save your changes. And when you go back, you should have a new heading for your topic. Now, underneath your topic, if you want to add anything, like under chapter 1, if I want to add all these things that I have underneath there have been added by me. How I did that is it says add activity or resource below that. There we have that button. If you click that, a screen, a little pop-up will come up, and it's going to have, at the very beginning, it'll have activities. And if you scroll it down, it'll go to resources. Most of mine are resources. I have added files, URLs, pages, folders, things like that. This is how you add your documents to it. If you want to add worksheets, if you want to add different reading material, key term, like I do, learning objectives, the key terms, study guides, all those things you can add. You can type them on a Word document at home or on your computer, then click on a file. So if I click file and I say add it, It's then I can give it a name, I can give it a description, and then I need to go find it from my computer and then upload it to this, and it will finish it for you. That's one of those, once you get comfortable with it, we can come around and help you. Once you've done one or two, that's very fast after that. It's just doing the first one or two just to make sure you're comfortable with finding the files and adding them on. You can always delete them easily if you don't like them later. You can hide them until you're ready for them, things like that. Other things with your editing, or I guess go back to activities and resources. So you can, like I said, you can do files, folders. Anytime you click on one, on the right side, it'll give you a description of what that does. And if you need more information about that, you can go to the docs.moodle.org, that website. If you say about books or whatever, if you want to say resource book added to Moodle, it'll give you a nice information about how it's used. It'll show you some examples, things like that, of how things are used. Not yet. I was messing around with them today a little bit. Some of the activities have been, some of these activities I like that are new to this version of Moodle compared to the one that we were using last year. So I like some of them, like a wiki page. If you think of Wikipedia, where people have always added things to it, this is a wiki page where you create a document, like we're going to talk about the American Revolution. And students can all maybe be in charge of a different part of it. And what they do is they get on there, and like if I want to add it, I'll kind of show you what happens. If I add it to my page, I give it a name like American Revolution, facts, and first name on the page is, I'll just go American Revolution. And I save and display it. So basically now what I've created is a page where students can come in now and add their information, and another student can add their information. It's a lot like what we do with like Google Docs, where everybody can add stuff. This provides them that same opportunity where they can come in and edit, make comments, or so if I put a chunk down of what I was responsible for, Denny does his thing, Nicole does her thing, and by the time we're done, we have a nice document for all of us to use. We can actually do comments also if you want to go in there and make comments, or another student can make comments about what they're seeing on there. So it gives them an opportunity to edit things, stuff like that. And it doesn't have to be a group one. You can actually have each student have their own, and it can be something that you interact with the student. Like, okay, I'm going to have every student's going to have a wiki page, and they have to give us like once a week, do a journal or an entry of some kind that they can enter weekly, and you can make comments back to them. So I can look at Tanner's page. Nobody else can see Tanner's page but him. He writes down some stuff. I can make comments back to him, things like that. So there's some different options with that. I can look at the history of when they're doing things, what time, who made what entries, as they're doing all those things on the wiki page. So that you can do several of those throughout if you'd like. That's one of those activities that I haven't used yet, but it seems to be something that I probably could use a little bit more.
Do you know how to add videos?
Videos. Let's see, we can go back to it. Are you looking at just like a URL or like something on YouTube or?
I have some of them that I already have downloaded on my computer.
Okay. Let me see if I can find where that one's at. I don't know if the file will be a URL is just a, it's a link, yeah, YouTube link, any of those type of things. I don't know if I've never put a full video up.
I have. What I've done, like if you want to embed the video right into iPad or into Moodle, like I've done for our training sessions, I usually just grab the label one. Go ahead and click that for a second, Chad.
Okay.
Show what I do with that.
Yes.
Okay. And you see this right here, these two carrots? That stands for HTML. And so if I had like another link open where I go to YouTube and where it says share underneath the YouTube video, there's an option to click embed. So I copy that code, I click this doohickey, and I paste it in, and the video appears. And it plays right in there. And let me show you.
Now, will that do it right from, like, she has downloaded ones on her?
I can show you where I have my video.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We
where
have them on YouTube. Where are they?
No, you're downloading.
They're downloaded, so that might be a little more.
Yeah.
What is it? Okay.
Yes. Where is it?
One that says label under.
Yeah.
You said click on that, then it said embedded.
And then I just copy that and then put it into,
And then click on that
That-
over.
put it here.
Those two.
Way over there, yeah.
Just
that one.
click this then,
Yeah.
and then it'll put, then just
And then
copy
you-
it into
I
here.
think
I think so.
copy that. That just needs-
Paste it in there.
Oh my gosh, what the heck is that? What the heck? Are these kids looking at? No.
I don't know. Mr. Warrington's
Something
room.
that bit should be listed. Or you.
I'm not looking at it. Why?
She's the one that noticed it.
Well, it's kind of hard not to notice that when you're sitting here. Okay, so if I want to embed this, do I have to wait till the actual video comes up?
You shouldn't have to.
Okay. So then can share. So. And then let's just copy it anyway. It's not control here. Then hit it. And then just update.
Yes.
And then save and return.
Yep.
That's
There you go.
pretty sweet.
Then they can watch them.
When they click on it, it pulls right up
For them.
for them.
So they can watch
That's
that.
why you had
Mhm.
it. So it goes like-
And anytime you want to look to see what it looks like for your students, at the very top on the red bar, it says switch role to. You can go to a student and actually see what it looks like for them
Oh,
when they get onto your. So it just changes your role real quick. So now the page on my kids, so I can see what it looks like for my kids.
Where did you go again?
In the very top,
Control.
switch role. And then if you want to go back to where you were, just go back to switch role to, return to my normal role, and it's going to switch you back. And then you can turn your editing back on.
Wonder if you upload it to YouTube under your account. Yeah, try that. And then move that link. I bet that'll work.
But there are a lot of different types of activities and things that are interactive. The newer versions are becoming more and more interactive as they go. So those are the things that you may want to add besides just making it a file storage area. No, like I said, those are things that there's some things that are on there now that as I got my files on there, these are things I'll probably want to add to it a little bit, along with assignments and quizzes and stuff like that.
So I have most of my assignments and handouts and everything on Google Docs, in folders on Google. So how do I move those to?
If you can go ahead and show, because those are actually a link, really, the URL. You could do file too.
You could do
either
a
way.
file either
File
way.
or URL, either one. Try file.
Okay. So then you just, whatever it may be, give a description. It's a great description. And then we're going to,
Have a folder, you want the document.
I want the document.
And see right there, it says, right in Google Docs,
Google
your Drive. You can grab it right there. From all in there. Yeah.
So you went under file first, is that what you did?
Yep, pick file. Then you had to give it a name and a description.
And for the next times too, you guys are basically gonna be working on adding content to your Moodle pages. So bring stuff. You're gonna have the time to work and do it, to create it, okay? So bring course content with you, like,
So we can bring our
think
books.
about, and think about, okay, what are some things I wanna include on here? You know, is it just a place for websites? Is it just the assignments? Do I wanna embed some video? So you come to us with what you wanna do, and then we'll cater the training to you. But it's gonna be, show you how you create, that type of thing.
Well, I think it's gonna be a work in progress. We're gonna start slow.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's, yeah.
It's gonna go,
Yes.
you say you're still adding things.
Yeah, I'm still working on mine.
Everyone's still adding things to the
Well,
Moodle.
that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
it's a monster.
But they can go, you can go in and put like quizzes on here and
Mhm.
stuff too.
Yep.
Quizzes.
And the nice thing is,
and they
once
grade them
you,
For you.
yeah, if you do like multiple choice tests and things, it takes a little time to
Yeah.
get them on there to create them. But once they're done, they're self-grading. So all they have to do is log in. They can take them. It grades it, stuff like that. So there's,
Most of those right.
Word for word.
No, word for word. I'm saying if you don't have a period of.
Yeah.
So you have to be really careful with those. You have to do those.
But if you do just multiple choice.
true false.
Yeah, instead of using your- the Scantrons or whatever, you could
Yeah.
do it all here, and it's just,
But we have to physically go through and type each question.
yeah,
right?
yeah. You have to
It's not
physically.
something we can drag in. if it's-
There is a way to do it if you have any tests that are on like exam view.
That's what I have my.
There is a way to actually transfer them over.
There is.
There is. Nancy and I have been working on that, trying to get. But there is a way to actually, if you have a word bank or just a test that's on exam view, there is a way to actually get it back and forth.
That would be sweet
Yeah.
because that's how I give all my tests. Exactly.
Yeah, there is a way to do it. So it just takes a little time, but otherwise, yeah, it's a matter of just you have to type, like if you have multiple choice, you have to type out the question in one box, tab to the next one, K, A, here, K, then B, B, and then C, and then work your way through. Then you click which one's the answer, and then you can give them immediate response. Sometimes you can say, okay, like that'll even allow you if like choose the best one. And you can say this is the best one, but if they choose option A, that's yes, that's 100%. But they choose option B, I'm going to give them 80% because that's a close answer. If it's not black and white, stuff like that. There's a lot of different variations you can do with it. And if there's anything that you ever create that you don't want kids to see, like if I don't want them to see hippocampus on mine, I go to edit, I can hide it. And then it's still there for me.
Can they see it?
They-
Just that it's darkened? I mean,
No.
It's gray?
It's gone for
So
them.
now if you
Yeah.
go to the switch
Switch,
roll thing,
exactly. That's what I'm.
up in here, go to student.
It is
So
gone.
now it's-
So like if you only want to show them one chapter at a time,
I can hide
You can hide
else, but I can
everything
still be
else.
Creating stuff to be ahead of them.
and when it and you don't have to hide individual, like if I can go and edit, there's a little eyeball right here. I can hide all of chapter 1 all at once. Right off to the side, and then if I want it up, I just hit the button and it comes right back to it. So you can hide all of the stuff. So you can create stuff and they don't have to see you creating all the stuff, your quizzes. You can hide them until the day that they're ready, or if you have questionnaires or things, you can put dates and times on them of when they're due, and the computer cuts it off. If they don't have it done by then, they can't get to it. You know, things like that. So
Will
there
it
are.
hide it from them after?
Yeah, I don't think it hides it, but it just says
They
the
can't.
time frame's been done. You can no longer access this. Stuff like that. So there's a lot of things you can do with it. They said this is in some colleges, this is their online courses, how they take it. Basically, this is the design of it. But yeah, it is a monster to create. It takes time. Yeah, once it's there, it's done. You don't have
This could be
to,
a summer project.
Yeah. like mine, I think I started this one in 2010, but I haven't like thrown, but by the time I got through and I said, okay, I'm going to pull my learning objectives. Okay, here I'm going to do every learning objective. There's an hour. Okay, now let's knock out key terms for each chapter. Then I just worked my way through one summer, but then adding things as I've gone through. So, but it's there now. As you can see, some of my other chapters are not nearly as big. Pretty much, yeah. Of those parts, now I got to add all the other interactive stuff now. So, but once it's there, it's there. You've used it. Do you like it?
I haven't used it a whole lot. I haven't used it very much. My sister had to use it a little bit already. Didn't have the greatest experience because it was all short answers.
No.
You have to be word for word.
But just to have, not even the testing part, but just like to have
Yeah,
the
it seems like
worksheets.
it otherwise.
stuff like that. So,
So when they do a
Anytime you
worksheet,
want.
then for that worksheet, it just sends it back to us when they're done,
depends on how you do it. Like mine are just set up as files right now,
okay?
and so
do
they
have to
could
print it?
print it that way
Okay.
if they lose it or whatever. But there are ways to add an assignment or make an assignment where they will actually have to type in and things like that. So if you add their activity and you go to assignment, and now says it's there, and then now can put in an assignment of what type. There's all sorts of different options of how they do it. A lot of mine I've just had them upload the assignment and send it back to me and stuff like that. So there's different ways to do that.
What if, how do they send it back to you? Through Moodle?
Through Moodle.
Or
Through Moodle.
So then when you get them back, you haven't noticed that you got 15
Yeah, when I click back on it, it'll say here's it. You have assignments to grade or whatever it tells you. I don't know if I thought one of my classes I hadn't graded something or I was testing something. Let's see if I can find it. Like here, if I check my course, World Cultures, I was playing with it. You have assignments that need attention. It tells you when you pull up your courses. Hey, you have some stuff you need to look at. So.
Do we know John's room number?
103.
Okay, so that is Moodle for today. So looks like we get to go to our next session.
John Kitch.
And then we log out of here.
Everybody upstairs, either 265 or 264. Thanks. Yeah, Robin.